Hey everybody, my name is Sean Kenny. This is Ken EdTech and Innovation, and today we're going to walk through some introductions as well as a rationale behind the channel to explain a little bit of the method behind the madness. My name's Sean Caney. I'm Instructional Technology and Innovation Coach for a charter school system that serves pre-K through 12th grade students. So what that means is that anything can happen on a given day, and it usually does. This is my 23rd year in education, and I really enjoy my work. I'm a high school English teacher by trade and training. I spent 18 years in the classroom teaching high school English, and this is my 5th year as an Instructional Technology and Innovation Coach. As a high school English teacher, I've taught every class at every level, everything from AP to REP. So I've taught AP Lang for several years, AP Lit for several years. I was an AP Lit reader for 3 years. And I also taught REP, which is Remedial Education Program. So back in the day here in Georgia, we had something called the Georgia High School Graduation Test, where our students had to write an essay in an allotted amount of time, and they had to pass that test in order to get their diploma. So my job as the REP teacher and coach was to make sure our students took the test, passed the test, so then they could get their diploma and graduate high school. So what this really means is I've spent a lot of time in the classroom, and I've seen a wide variety of students. You should know that I get pretty bored pretty easily, which is why I like to mix things up. For example, the first school I taught at, I read Macbeth out loud in class 72 times. I still like Macbeth. Macbeth is great, but I needed to do something to make sure that I didn't lose my mind and that I still stayed excited about reading Macbeth, so we did a few different things. So for example, the last time I taught Macbeth, we compared Macbeth to professional wrestling, where in class we talked about how the symbol of power in Macbeth was the crown, the symbol of power in professional wrestling is the title, so just in case you guys weren't aware, professional wrestling isn't real, it's theater, just like Shakespeare, just like Macbeth. So anyway, we created a class copy of Macbeth, symbolism and all that fun stuff, and the students created their own version of Macbeth as well, which is really fun. So we had students who created Macbeth as if the setting were in the Smurf village where Papa Smurf was in charge and everybody wanted to get the red hat. We also had Scooby-Doo as a version of Macbeth where everybody wanted to take over Fred's position and get the scarf and all that stuff. So anyway, I like to mix things up to make things interesting for me and to make sure that I stay engaged with the content so that I can then in turn keep my students engaged and enjoying the content as much as I did the first time that I read it. Another thing I do to change things up in addition to content is I would change schools every 6 to 7 years. So I've taught in a wide variety of schools. For example, I've been one of 8 English teachers on a grade level team where we had thousands of kids, in the school, to my current situation where over the last year that I taught at my school, I was the only American Lit 11th grade teacher, so I was the only one. So I've taught in really large settings and I've also taught in very small settings as well. I think working in a variety of school systems has also helped me gain a unique insight to how schools work, on a large scale and a small scale as well. My current school utilizes project-based learning and I like it a lot. I've also taught in a variety of environments within project-based learning. So the first year I taught PBL, I taught 9th grade literature and I was the only teacher in the classroom. So this meant that I created the projects, I determined the curriculum, and I prepared our students for the end of course tests. And that was a lot of fun. The second year, they mixed things up on me and I was voluntold that I was going to teach a collaborative class where I taught American literature and drama. At first I was very hesitant, but it turned out to be one of the best things I've ever done professionally. My partner and I had a great time with the class, and creating the different types of projects. So it was American literature infused with drama. We were literature in theater, so we were lit, and that was awesome. And that, again, that whole experience changed the way I looked at project-based learning and teaching in general. So it really was transformative for me, and I really enjoyed it a lot. To give you an idea of how some of those projects worked, for example, our first one dealt with advertising. So what we did is we picked a product. Our students had to look at the advertising campaign attached to that product and analyze it using rhetorical terms and devices, the rhetorical triangle, like they had to talk about the audience, the medium, the spokesperson, things of that nature. So they analyzed an ad campaign in depth. And then the assignment was to create a brand new ad campaign for the exact same product. They couldn't change the product, but they had to change the target audience. So what they did was they had to utilize their rhetorical terms and devices to talk about it in that way. And they had to create a whole new ad campaign. And then for the drama part of it, they had to create the script, they had to create the storyboard, and then ultimately they had to film, edit, and create the advertisement that they shared with their peers and actually shared with advertising executives as well. So that's just an example of the types of products that my students created. It was a lot of fun, and again, we'll get more into these different types of projects as the channel continues to grow. In addition to utilizing PBL, my school is also STEAM certified pre-K through 12. And as the Instructional Technology and Innovation Coach, I push into all classes pre-K through 12. So that means I may be helping kindergartners use Adobe Express to create recipe cards to show what parts of a plant can be eaten, to helping our 12th graders create their online portfolios, graduation portfolios that they need to present, at the end of the year in order to get their cords at graduation. So anything can happen on a given day, and it usually does. In addition to mixing up curriculum and schools, I also get different certifications and follow my various interests. So for example, the first area I got into was art and English. So I got my gifted certification, mostly because here where I teach, that involves a lot of art and transmediation and getting students to use art in the classroom as their assessments. And I got really into that. I thought that was really neat. And I actually use what I learned in that certification with all of my classes. So Gen Ed, REP, and everything else, because I really just think all students enjoy art. So I went that route. Eventually I got into AP, so I taught AP Lang for a while, AP Lit. I became an AP Lit reader for 3 years. The more I got into College Board though, the more it kind of felt like it wasn't me. So I broke away from College Board and went to a school that utilized EIC, which is the Environment as an Integrated Curriculum. And that was pretty interesting. What we did was we used the environment around us to help teach and illustrate concepts. So for example, like biology, our students went to a river to learn about riparian zones. For calculus, they went to a stone quarry to learn about how hitting the rocks would fracture it in different ways and try to figure out what was going to happen with the rocks when you hit them, things of that nature. So it was pretty fun. Then I moved into my current school because I heard about PBL, but I didn't know a lot about it, and that's been it. I've really enjoyed what I've been doing. I think project-based learning is really, really neat, and for somebody who's been teaching for a really long time, it helped me redefine who I was as a teacher and look at education in a different way. While working with project-based learning, I really got into technology. And during that time, like working with collaborative documents, through Google, all that stuff, I became really interested in Google. So I got Google Certified Educator Level 1, Level 2. Those certificates have passed. I'm only saying that because Google's really excited about making sure you don't say you're a Google Certified Educator if you aren't any longer. So I am a former Google Certified Educator Level 1, former Google Certified Educator Level 2. I passed the Google Trainer test, but I could never get them to like my projects, so I never got the Google Trainer certification. In addition, I got an Apple Teacher certification, and I'm really proud of the fact that I'm an Apple Distinguished Educator, which was a great opportunity for me because I got to meet a lot of innovative people who are doing really amazing things. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to create this channel, because I feel like I'm losing touch a little bit. So I wanted to connect again with people, and so that was an amazing turn for me. Eventually, technology became a pretty pressing issue at my school, and I was asked to do different PDs, and then the job to be Instructional Technology and Innovation Coach came up, and so I got it that way. And then eventually, I went back to school and got my specialist certificate in Instructional Technology to make sure I was doing everything correctly, and it doesn't hurt that there's a little bump in pay either, so that was pretty good too. Last year was a big year for me because we had a new English teacher who was teaching AP Lang for the first time, and she kind of struggled with it for a little bit. So they asked me to go into the classroom and help her out. And that was actually eye-opening for me because it was a lot of fun. I realized from pushing in and working with her kids that I really miss teaching English. So that's yet another reason why I wanted to create this channel. So it's going to involve technology, it's going to involve innovation, and it's also going to involve teaching English because, again, this is the things that interest me. So I decided I wanted to share these things, with others. As an instructional technology coach, I don't have the opportunity to share English with other teachers, so this seems like a good avenue for that. So that's another reason why I'm really interested in creating this particular channel. As an instructional technology coach who works in a PBL environment that also utilizes STEAM, I've done a lot of different things that I'm really excited about. For example, as I mentioned before, our first graders created recipe cards in Adobe Express where they looked at the parts of the plant that could be eaten. Then they made these recipe cards and showed like how you can make a meal out of these edible parts of the plant. And then they took them home and then they had a picnic. So that was their PBL showcase, was they made a variety of foods to share with each other. So that was fun. Other things we've done, my juniors and seniors worked on an NFT gallery, and that was an amazing experience. They actually created assets that they sold on OpenSea. So I had to learn a lot about OpenSea, Bitcoin, gas fees, you name it. It was a very challenging project, but it was also really worthwhile because it was just great seeing students get paid for their artwork. So that was a lot of fun. And we've also done things like we have a forensics class at my school. And so I worked with the art class collaboratively. And what they did was they created digital assets, like outlines of dead bodies, bloody knives, things of that nature. And then they put them together in a library, and we gave that library to the forensics teacher who could then use Adobe Aero to create forensic crime scenes. And so that was a lot of fun. And it helped our forensics teacher create really complicated scenes because she's an amazing instructor. And she would do things, like actually create crime scenes in the room. And yes, I was a corpse one time, so she used to really get into it. It was really time consuming. And so this was great because it was a really fun way to get our students engaged in forensics and to give them ways to do more crime scenes, that they could use more often. So that was a lot of fun too. But you get the idea. These are the types of things that I want to talk about, on this channel, going forward. A lot of my current work involves making videos. So I am the type of person who learns by doing. So in order to make sure that I'm learning how video production works, I need to make videos. And not just in the classroom for the first time, because I don't want the first videos I make to have all these horrific mistakes or what have you. So that's the point of the YouTube. Sorry, everybody. These early videos are going to be rough, but hopefully they will get better. If they don't get better, that's trouble. But in addition to learning Final Cut Pro, which is what I'm working on right now, I also need to learn DaVinci Resolve because my ultimate goal is to show students tools that they can use going forward. And the fact that DaVinci Resolve, for the most part, is free is something that I need to learn so that I can impart on my students. So these first videos are going to be made and edited with Final Cut, but I'm eventually going to move into DaVinci Resolve, so we'll see how that turns out for me. But as I said before, I learn by doing, so that's the whole point of these videos and this channel. So there you go. So that's all I know about this channel right now, to be honest. I'm hoping to learn video editing, video production. I need to learn Final Cut Pro, and I need to learn DaVinci Resolve. I've always been relatively interested in YouTube, and I feel like I have a lot of information to share, a lot of experience. In these 23 years, I've accumulated a lot of ideas, and I've learned a lot. And so I'm hoping to put these things together in this channel, and I hope you come back and check the channel out, and you enjoy what you see. So that's what I got for now, and until I see you next time, take care, everybody.